bring this up real quick. We're going to try the different camera for different spot here. So I appreciate everyone who's hanging out today. We're looking good. Let's go see if we can find my website here. So anyways, today we are going to be working on, as you saw in the thumbnail, I've got a whole bunch of seeds. We got some hollyhock, I got some zinnias, I got some coneflowers. We got everything for us to work on today. So I just really am excited to be here with you guys today to be able to work on some of this stuff. I'm pretty excited. So with that, I just want to get up to my site here, Ryan Howe. And here I am live. So that way I can make sure I'm staying up on the chat. There we go, cool. Welcome, everyone. Cool. All right, there we go. Looks like we're up. All right, great. So this gives me a chance that way I'm not backwards. We're playing around with this today. So with that, all right. So those that don't know, again, Ryan Howe. I come in live in the greenhouse here pretty consistently, and you know we're just here doing the thing. It's great, and this gives everybody kind of an opportunity to check up on exactly what we're doing, how we're managing things, and you know just all in all awesomeness that's been going on here. So let's see here. Okay. So far, just kind of give you up to speed here. We're in the greenhouse. I'm in northern Michigan. I live right about there, if you want to say, right next to Lake Michigan. And we're getting everything kind of started here in the greenhouse for our fall into winter. And we do things a little differently here, where I really like to have stuff growing as much as possible. I've got my greenhouse, so I like to use it. So what we're going to do here, though, since we got this over here, I got to make a couple adjustments. We're going to do this real time here. But yeah, for those that don't know, I come here live like pretty consistently. Just here, hopping on YouTube in the greenhouse, out in the garden right now. I mean, I'll show you guys real quick here. You know, I've got my chickens being some nosy parts here. You can see them just living their best lives. We just put the leaves out there for the chickens so they can have that stuff. So welcome everybody. Glad to see everyone making their way into the chat. It's so good to see you. I'm going to be, I've got my laptop over here so that way we can be, you know, seeing things the right way. One of the biggest issues that I have with like mobile is the camera that we get, right? It's like, it reverses everything, right? It's mirror. No, I don't want that. That's no bueno. So, but yeah, we're going to be working on harvesting some seeds. There's a lot of folks that don't know how to do that, never done that. And I really want to show them that it's not that hard. As an example here, these are some lettuce, some butter lettuce that we have. Well, check that. Yes. Actually, these are black seeded Simpson that's growing here. And these were harvested from my garden this year. Saved them, put them into, let my lettuce go to seed, harvested them, put them in the freezer for a couple weeks and to stratify them, and now they're back out. And this is about 3 weeks in where they're growing to this point here. So really good stuff. We're getting them squared away. It's pretty awesome. We love that for us. So as you can see, we got a whole group of them here, looking pretty good. Okay, we did this, and what we did is we actually harvested them. Went through all the process of potting them. We're going to take a look at some of these here on the stream, and that's what we do here. So if you're interested in gardening, you know, if you're here and this is something that you like, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know when I'm coming live here, so you can come hang out with us and ask some questions and just let's see what we can learn together about working in the garden. Because one of the things, the big things that I have with everybody here is that a lot of folks that hop on here, and I'm learning from you as well. So, and the other things I want to show you here is the difference on how things take to germinate. So I'll just bring this over. So these are some green onions, you know, basically green onion. You can just see how they're just starting. I don't know if you can see that or not too well. Little greens popping through there. These were planted at the same time that my next round of lettuce was started. And you can just see nothing's really popping up yet. And it goes to the different rates of germination and how they do it. So these take extra time to germinate. They're usually about another week to germinate for lettuce seeds versus what you have for onions. So it's one of the things just to be important. See if I got an example seed packs here. There you go. Here you go. It's very important. So like for instance, for Brussels sprouts, I'll be starting these in the around February timeframe to have them ready to go out in the garden in April. They tell you specifically on the back, they'll always tell you like how long it takes to germinate, and you know how to manage that appropriately like that, so you know how well they're doing here. Okay, so it's always want to make sure you know what your germination rates are. That's going to help you manage your overall process. Okay. All right. So as I was saying, we've got our goodies here. We're going to just drop these down out of the way for right now. They're kind of, actually, I'm going to put them over here so they're further out of the way. Yeah, I appreciate everybody hopping on right now. Let me know where you're at. You know, it's always helpful if I know where you are at in the, you know, where you're at in around the world, in the U.S. or whatever. And if you currently have anything growing, we have got some wind picking up. We've got some storms coming through, more than likely here in a little bit. So it's going to be an exciting day today. I think so. But yeah, let me know where you're at. It's always cool to learn where people are from and just drop it in the chat so we can stay caught up. And maybe I might have some questions about stuff that you're growing, how you grow it, etc. So, all right. So that isn't going anywhere. That's just a temporary gig. So that's not so bad. Oh, you're in North Carolina. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. We love that. Man, I wish I would, you know, there's times where I really wish I was down in like Tennessee, in that area. The ability to grow different things is just so choice there. So love it. Love it very much. So, and that's, is that Bernetta? Am I saying that correctly? I just want to make sure we're saying that right. One of those ones where I never quite know if I'm saying those names correct. And I don't, cool. All right, great. So Bernetta, did you have a garden growing this year, and how'd it go? So let's get up here. Let's start with some simple stuff here. I think this would be good education for folks. We are going to start with hollyhock. If you've never... Cool, cool, cool. Love it, love it. Yes and yes. We love those answers. So this is hollyhock. This is one of my smaller ones that I have. I have a couple of them here. These are flowers that are perennial. They're technically biennial, so when you plant them the first year, they typically don't flower. They die back, then the next year, and then from on, they'll keep coming back, and they grow these beautiful, different colors, but mine are really nice, a deep crimson color, red. And they're very, oh, not so good. Oh no, that's no bueno. So last year was my year for having a bad garden year. My squash didn't grow. None of my zucchinis. Let me get this here. This thing's kind of flopping all over. There, that'll pin it in there. Got that wind going crazy. Sorry about that. But your leaves got curled edges. Okay, yeah. So you got some cold. Definitely got some cold and some other stuff going on there. So no bueno. So anyways, hollyhock, and the thing to keep in mind with flowers, right? The flowers. End of the day, the flowers are there to make seeds. More, you know, that's really what they're there to do. And so these is real simple. These are at the base of the flower. They grow up and then they get germinated, right? Pollinated, excuse me. And then you got seeds left. So this is how this looks from here. Now, these have dried out, but we're still going to go through the process. And I'm going to take these and put these all into paper bags. And then we're going to, after I show you the hollyhock, we're going to come in here. I'm going to show you what I did earlier. We're going to take a look at zinnias, and because I got a metric ton in here, because I had a bunch that were done, but they were too dry. They were wet still, so I had to. It started with tomatoes and the peppers. Oh man, that stinks. That stinks. Sorry to hear that. That's no bueno. And unfortunately that's just how it goes sometimes. I've had some rotten years with my garden, and then this year was actually a amazing year for us. It was overdue for a bit. So with this, the process is really simple, at least when it comes to flowers. Well, simple as in the steps are pretty simple. The way that you manage and care for them is a little bit different. Okay, so we're just going to walk you through. So I'm going to grab one of them here. I'll grab two. This one's kind of flopping around. I'm just going to show you, all right? So this is what the actual seed pod looks like when it's all folded up. And what you're going to do is you're just going to get in here and gently open it up. I'll show you the inside here. So there is, in that donut, you can see they've got the seeds are all the way around. I pulled some out here. I'm going to keep them together. They're all just stacked around in like this little donut shape. And individually, this is what they look like. I can see that okay. So with that, those seeds, what you want to end up doing is we're going to take them and we're going to, for me, just starters here so I can keep them kind of separated. Go back to that old Offspring song, got to keep them separated. I've just got this little these paper bags right now that we are just going to toss them in here as we separate them out. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I brought my computer in so I can have you guys, I can still watch, but we're going to bring you guys in nice and close today and have you get a look of something like this here while I'm working. So definitely appreciate everybody's on here. Where else is everybody at right now? So you guys want to be able to see what I'm doing in here, I think. So I think that's going to be the important piece. So I'll make sure I'm in frame. This is the tough part where I don't have my normal setup. There we go. Utah. Oh, Utah. Awesome. Beehive State. I was in the Air Force, so I had some time around Hill Air Force Base, and I taught in Salt Lake City for a bit too. So beautiful state. Utah is one of those sneaky gorgeous spots there. All right, so we're again just gonna go through here, and if this was a real, like I know I say a real video per se, but if we weren't doing this live stream, this would be where I would speed it up to like 100 times, like 100x. So the other thing too is I'm gonna have my bucket down here. We're gonna just kind of any sort of the leftover other stuff we're not using. What we're gonna do is just take that and so I can compost it. Right. For those that know, I do a lot of composting. But you'll see they just pop right open. It's that simple. And here's the thing, folks. This is what I love about this with flowers, with these type of perennials. This one pod that I'm going through and just doing here, this one pod, that's one packet's worth of like hollyhock seeds. And these are like $4 to buy online. Okay. Oh, you're by the airport. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. All right. So that's what this is why we love this. So I'm packaging all these up and I'm going to be starting some more hollyhock in the spring. And I'm going to be offering these, donation only to my neighbors. So they can come get some fresh flowers that they can grow, but they'll be perennials so they can have them in there. How do I build my compost? That is a great question. What a good question, Bernetta. I love that. You went straight to goodness on that, because I tell you right now, I love me some compost building. So my compost is done with leaves. I'll come over here, actually hop on here for a little bit. So for me, the way I do my compost, make sure I'm in frame. I use the green matter I have from my for my garden, but mostly it goes in there along with leaves. I do use some, if I don't have access to a bunch of leaves, I will go and grab some like natural wood mulch, right, and use that in there. Cardboard if I have it. I don't put anything that is like dairy or meats or anything, because I don't want to bring any like critters, having them come in thinking this is a place that maybe they want to be feasting at, right? So it's typically 16. I start at 15-1 brown matter, which is your leaves or cardboard. Like I said, your mulch that you can get, different things like that. To grass, like so your green matter. Usually it's 15-1, so you have more carbon than nitrogen. But with that, sometimes I'm up to 30-1. Just kind of depends where it's at. So you just kind of stack it up in layers. Hit it with a hose, and then I try to turn it every 2 weeks for the first 6 weeks, and then I'll let it go for a few months, and that's it. And then it ends up out of my garden. If you've seen any of the streams before, you'll know that we are big into. I'm gonna pop this over here for a little bit. Make sure you guys can chat with here. You know that I use compost all over. In my garden, I just put two. I'm trying to think how large it is. They're basically pallet-sized, 2 full pallet-sized containers of compost. So I use a bunch. Okay, so we're going to do a few of these, and then we are going to get into our next spot, which is going to be our sunflowers, right? we have those. So again, it's a very simple process, just a little tedious to kind of get them out here. But once you get the first ones going, the rest will just pop out. And you don't have to worry about manhandling these seeds because one, they're designed to take a beating, right? But the other side is that, especially when you grow your own stuff, you get a bunch. You know, like I said, so this is one full packet's worth of hollyhock seeds. We're going to do maybe a couple more. There you go. And you can see that one was very dry. So the process really is typically I'm going to go through and grab these. If they're too moist, we're going to pop them in the dehydrator, which is we're going to look at zinnias next. Okay. Do a couple more here, and then we'll get into the dehydrator. I think you guys are going to like the dehydrator. The dehydrator look, because I got a bunch of zinnia seeds in there that I gotta get out. Because zinnias, I have like my neighbors, they love the zinnias. They're always coming around grabbing my zinnias. So, all right, so there we go. I'm gonna save these. Now I got more to do. You know, when I've got some time to kill, I'm gonna come back out here and hammer through a few more of these, save them up. All right, so let's take a look real quick. So, other thing, got to keep in mind here, super important, is make sure that you always have your marker available so you can remember exactly when, you know, you can figure out your own naming convention for these, but for me it's really simple. I just go, it's hollyhock, and today is what, the 17th? It's a couple days after my birthday. I turned 47 this year. 10, 17, 25. All right, so again, you always want to make sure you have this, specifically what it is, obvious, but this one too, like, you know, when you actually did your, when you actually did this stuff. Because if you're anything like me, I save seeds, I forget I have the seeds, I go to get the seeds, like, oh crap, these are 2 years old, and I don't know if they've been stratified or anything like that. So hey, Barry Craig, what's happening? Have I ever started planting them in egg cartons? I did when I was first starting out. I did the whole egg carton thing. But what I do now is, just to show you, we were looking earlier here. So I have just another example. It's a good question. That's why I love this live stream, because we can just make adjustments, and so I love streaming because y'all got questions, and I'm trying to do my best to make sure I have answers here. So what we have here is the reason I don't start them in that is one, just I don't necessarily. I mean, I reuse a lot of these. I usually get a couple seasons out of this, so I'll start everything in these single, like the 1 inch pods, and as soon as they have their roots have made it to the underneath there, I move them up into this size, and this is what I actually plant out of. So I'll have this entire greenhouse plus a whole another section just completely filled up with these pint containers, and they rotate through as I need them. Like, so these are going to grow out. I'm going to give them space, and I'm just going to keep rotating in new lettuce. So that's the plan. That's how that works. It's pretty cool. We dig it. All right, so there's that. Okay, so next up on this, let's do another flower. I think, actually, no, we're doing zinnias. That's right. We're going to bring this up. So this is my dehydrator. Now I have a couple dehydrators here on the property. And I have some that are for, let me do this here. I have some that are for food, and I have some that are in this one, but that's not this one. This one is for seeds. It's only for seeds. It's an old one. I got it from a gentleman who I was actually taking care of his property when I first moved back to Michigan, and he was kind enough to say, hey, you can take whatever you want. He was an older gentleman, so he was, you know, kind of on his, he's since passed away. And he's like, Ryan, just take what you need, man. Hey, good. So one of the issues that you'll run into with your different flowers that you have that are out there is when they are, when you go to get them and they're done, you don't really know what the weather is going to be. How tall are my hollyhocks? I had some that were close to 5 foot. They're about here. I didn't have any larger ones, and it's because of where they're at on my property. They don't get full sun. They're always in like partial. So I have some that were just maybe 3 footers, some that were closer to 5 foot. So that's a good question. I have a friend of mine. He's got one that's was like a couple 6 footers. They were just monsters. So, so the thing is, when you get your flowers, they're like, these were done. Like you can see, they're crunchy, right? So we got our zinnia here. You can see right? This is a zinnia that's been, it's since given up its color. The issue though is that when a lot of times they're going to be wet because in the fall, right, we're getting rain and just gross and just the weather's changing. So when they're done, you have to find a way to dry them off dry them off. And what's really great about dehydrators and having one specifically for that is you can just manage the temperature on that because it's got like this degree, 95 degrees. It's not going to cook anything. It's not going to damage the seeds and it's going to help them dry out. Okay. So with this, it's the same principle. We got all of these cool petals that are on here that we're not really interested in. They have wonderful color. They did their job. But at the base of the petals, that's what we got to be careful with here. This is the thing. At the base of the petal, it's hard to see. Make sure I can get it here. That is the seed for your zinnias. Right there. I don't know if you can make that out or not. We'll try again. So that's it right there. Okay. So what we're trying to do here, and when you get it, you simply just pull stuff out and you will get those seeds, which is what you're after. Okay. That's the good stuff. So we basically, at the end of this, what we end up doing, it's a pain with zinnias. Zinnias are annoying, I think is the best way to say that. They are just annoying. So the way that I typically do this, and you see I got a bunch here, is we're just going to kind of just make this guy miserable. His best life is now past him. Toss this here. And you'll see all the darker color that you see on there. You can just see where all the seeds are at. And we have to go individually and go grab those, right? That's the not fun part of this. But it's okay. It could be worse. Yeah, it could be worse. So big part of this is just going through and just getting them. Now, here's the deal. This is what I tell everyone. Typically, I will grab a few of my zinnias, a few of my perennials and stuff. We're going to look at, I've got coneflowers that we're going to look at in a little bit. Some echinacea, right? I typically leave my coneflowers and my echinacea, and I leave all of them out. I only, normally most of them, not all, because I'm going to come and grab some seeds just to make sure I got some backup. And well, what we want to do though is you want to save as many of those out in the wilderness as you can, not pull everything, so that way your birds have food during the winter. So I keep all of my perennials up, minus a couple, like I said, so that way, so the birds, they can come in and they can munch on this, because at the end of the day, this is mostly seeds in here, right? And that's some good snacks for them to get. Not a lot of calories, but they're birds, they're little guys. They'll figure it out. So we're just going to keep doing that. I got a few I got to get through. And get to there. So, but anyways, so interesting stuff with us here. We've got a great, with my, trying to make sure we can get everything kind of here for you to see. I don't really want you guys not seeing this stuff here. But you can see already, look at this. Look at how many seeds we've gotten already. Like there's a bunch. There's some chaff in here, which you're going to get now, sift out accordingly. But this is probably 4 packs worth of seeds right now. And so the more that you can save these, the more that you could share with your neighbors, the more you could, keep for yourself, the better. And just save your money. Okay. So this is the other little hidden secret that if you haven't done it, it's fun. When you go to the home store, right, to the Home Depot or the Lowe's, etc. You guys can just see again what we're dealing with. All these seeds, all the dark gray ones. Just go to Home Depot, go to Lowe's, and when everything's dead, just deadhead them, right? That's what you want to do. So like right here, we've got this gross, nasty seed here, or the deadhead here. But when we go through and pull, like that is all zinnia seeds, right? And this is just a part of the thing. I used to do this with my grandma. It's just something we've done for a while. I just grew up doing this. So I want to get a few more here, and then the rest of these we're gonna drop. Just gonna dump them in total into their own little bag. Ooh, look at that guy. So this one is a different boy. Okay, so there's that. A couple more zinnias in here. Okay, guys, show you guys one more here. We're gonna move on to our next flower. So again, we're just gonna manhandle this thing. Comes apart Get all the pieces out that we can. And then in here, these are what we're looking for. That little nub right at the end there. That's the seed, okay? And there's one separated just so you can see it. And that's what you get inside your packs when you order your zinnia seeds. So that's where we're at, guys. Doing good stuff here, man. Doing good. So we're going to get a paper sack here. I'm going to paper bag. We're going to mark it up. And we're going to look at this entire thing just like this. Another day I will come through and sort all this. It's not difficult to sort, you know, it's just not, doesn't make for the best content for you guys because I want to get through the different things because we do have some that we have to treat differently. So because I have some squash. We're gonna look at our sunflowers, you know, save a few of those. I've got some gray stripe sunflowers that I need to save. Where did I put that marker? Remember what I said about markers? We always want to keep them around. Well, one of the problems I get with markers, put it in my back pocket so I wouldn't forget it. There it is. But we're gonna look at sunflowers as well too, so it'll be all right. So this is going to be zinnias. It's 10, 17, 25. I can read that, so you know, is what it is. All right, and the rest of these, we're just gonna put all the rest of the stuff because I've got groups of them in here. What are these? My head's hurting a little bit because I've got some little guys in here. I'm trying to remember what those are. I snuck some other ones in. Uh-oh. I'm not gonna worry about them though. All right, so zinnia seeds, everyone's gonna go here, but they've all been dried out, so that's good. That's what we want to see. And then I've actually got some wildflowers in here too that I have saved. So what am I planting now? So planting right now, I've got, I do lettuce, I've got some spinach, and I'm going to be starting some brassicas too, outside, they'll get them going. Kale, I do a lot of cold weather crops this time of year. Stuff that can do well inside the greenhouse here. Because I've got light, I'm going to bring my lights in. There'll be a whole stream where we're going to be setting up the greenhouse for the winter months. You can see I've got insulation on 3/4 of the actual on 3/4 of the greenhouse. So this is designed, and I have heaters in here that I'll be running to make sure everything's good. So, but I've got a lot of wildflowers in here. So what we're going to do with these wildflowers also, I'm not going to say these separate. In the spring, this is a wildflower mix now that I pulled from all my other stuff. We're going to take this, and I've got a side of my house where every year I just take this mixture of wildflowers and just kind of throw them, crush it up and just throw it all over my property. And I get all these wonderful wildflowers that pop up. Okay. So it's another thing you can do if you see flowers that you like in your area where it's legal, right? We don't go pick wildflowers where it's illegal to do so. Right. Go and deadhead the stuff you want and then come back. So you can see one here, it didn't quite dry it all the way. You can see why I grabbed this one. This little guy right there, right? And that's that's a wild lettuce, that one of all things. I have some wild lettuce around here. It's really pretty when it goes to flower. So I try to keep that around. All right, so let's get this guy. But yeah, we're gonna just load this guy up here. Load him up. So this will be a nice mix. But you have to have everything dry, and this is going to be put in my garage up nice and high. So this winter, when it freezes, it's going to get stratified. Which, you know, these seeds have to be frozen for a couple weeks to be viable. It's just the way that they're designed. So they got to go through a freezing spell. Typically a couple of weeks, longer if you can do it. But I'm going to let them go all winter, be frozen, and then we'll toss them out in the spring, early when it's just starting to warm up, and we'll have fresh wildflowers. The other thing is that where I put them, wildflowers come up anyways, right? I've had them there for enough years where there's enough seeds in the ground, so I'll be able to work that. But again, the reason we go through this process and do all of this is because when I wanted to harvest these, everybody was too wet. They were dead, but they were too wet. So we go through and put them in the dehydrator just to dry them off. So it's good stuff. Good stuff, everybody. I appreciate everybody who's giving me a thumbs up. If you like gardening stuff and you haven't yet, you know, obviously I would appreciate it. Don't forget to do this thing. Thank you very much for everybody who has subscribed and hit that like button. Thank you. And if you know folks you think would benefit and really enjoy this type of content, where they get on here to be able to learn about gardening, you know, not just in the garden, but we have other stuff going on as well too. Feel free to share this with them. Oh, other stuff, just randomly, this was just a little leftover on this one I had. So I had some German thyme. I know it's hard to see, but it's some German thyme that I had as well that I went ahead and, oh, it smells so good. Oh, I love German thyme. It's so good. And actually just, I had a little bit left over in there when I did these. So yeah, a little German thyme in there. All right, so this is just the wildflower mix. And again, the wildflower mix is, like with everything I grow, is for my pollinators. So, hey, what's happened, Ruth? How are you? Welcome, welcome. Good to have you on. Okay, so next up we're going to do our cone flowers here. All right, because I don't, some of this stuff, and you can see when you dry it off here. I mean, you'll see this here. I have this, when you're doing this, you want to try to find a way to make sure you can protect your stuff. I actually have this little plastic sheet that goes in the bottom that catches any of the seeds that might fall through any of the other stuff, so it doesn't end up in the thing. But we're just going to toss those. I've already got enough. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm going to bring this lid over though, because the lid does a pretty good job of highlighting stuff. I didn't realize how good this does as far as showing stuff here. All right, so keep this guy here. So we're gonna, actually, we'll do sunflowers next. I got two different ones to go through here that I just want to get. All right, so this is, it's in pieces here, mind you, but these are starburst sunflowers. So they come up and they grow, these are multi-head sunflowers. They top out at around 14 feet, give or take, at least mine do. Some people might get them a little bit larger, and I'll end up with between 10 and 15 heads, about yay big on each one of these. And they're one of my favorites to grow because the birds, the finches, love them because they got these seeds. They're just these little guys, and you can see this is a cross section. So here's where the sunflower was at. All of the sunflower has died off, obviously, and it's dried out. And underneath this, which these were the flowers, you can't really see them anymore, you end up with the seeds, which are right here. And we're going to pull them out of here. Oop, okay, I lost that guy. But that is what the seed looks like for this guy. Okay, so we're going to get a whole bunch of these right now. The way you do it is simply just break this thing apart. And very similar to what we did with the last one, we're simply just going to pull these guys out, break this thing apart as much as we can, and save and see what seeds we can get. We're not worried, like, I'm not going to worry about losing any of these, because the one thing is I rarely ever plant sunflowers. I've only done it like 1 year intentionally. And because of the birds, right, coming through and chomping on everything, eating the seeds, and they're just pigs, the way that they come through and tear everything up, I have sunflowers that grow every year. They grow all over the place. Now, I like them because, and we talked about it on the previous stream, one of the reasons that I like my sunflowers is I use them to help break up the soil, because I end up with I have a lot of clay, and I'm working on getting this place set up in a way that it's going to be better, to say the least. Okay, the soil here is good, but it does have too much like clay and other stuff in it. So I use, and I don't till, I only use a broad fork to loosen up the soil. I tilled once when I first got here to obviously, all it was an open field when I got here. So I did have to till to start. But after that, I don't till. I just use a broad fork to lift up the soil. But you need to have some stuff in there, i.e. organic matter in your soil. And sunflowers are a great way to do that, because they send these big old roots down, right, everywhere. And then when you cut them off and get rid of them, they leave the roots in there. They die off and decompose, and then you end up with this awesomeness, right, of all that organic matter, plus they've broken up the soil, and now there's channels for air, water, nutrients to move around in there. So all the goodness. All right, so I got a few more in here as well. And unfortunately, like, this is the process. There isn't really a good way, because sunflowers, one, they're completely edible. Every bit of them, you can eat them at different times. They're good. But two, they're just, they're pliable. They are designed to hold up. They're pliable, they stretch and they move and they, get their shape back. So you can't really, they don't really like come apart like you'd want them to, like with the other flowers. So, well, anyways, just as a reminder for folks here, I'm in northern Michigan. I'm in my greenhouse. It is, what's the temperature in here right now? It's 70 degrees in here and it's like 50 degrees outside right now. So it's, greenhouse is doing its job. And by trade, I'm a business coach, but like I said, I come on YouTube here pretty consistently, just, doing this stuff too. So it's great to have you on here. We have a few folks that shared where they're from. It's always great if you're in the chat and you're new, let us know where you're from, because I had this one crew in here a couple days ago. There's an individual, she actually had a stream that she was running the night before. And like she and like half her team, her crew, the people around the stream ended up on this one. So they were all connecting because they were putting in where they were from. And it's like, hey, and little reunion and stuff. So, all right. So from that one tiny half flower, we got, wow, and it's just a ton. That is saying, I'm not too worried about saying. We got what I would say, and because I do buy seeds a lot. We got 3 packages worth of sunflower seeds, right? And this is more than enough for like my garden and a half to be able to have. Okay, so again, one of the great things about saving your seeds is that when you're saving money, which is great about that. So the more that you can do that, the better. It's also quality control. Oh, hey, Shawnee, welcome back. You caught me again. Good to see you. Good to see you. What a surprise. I was just telling them about you, the fact that you guys hopped on here the other day. And then your crew was here too. So that was cool. Yeah. Yeah, we're doing seeds. We just did, so far today, we've done, just to catch you up, Shawnee, say hi to everybody, Shawnee. Or everyone say hi to Shawnee, I should say. If I'm saying Shawnee, right? Am I getting the I want to say the inflection in the right spot, Shawnee, right? Yeah, everyone save seeds. We love it. So I've got my wildflower mix. Now this is, as I mentioned, if you can pick wildflowers in your area, feel free. If you can't, don't pick wildflower seeds. But I have in my area where I grow them. So I have these here. Okay, awesome, great. Then I have my zinnias that we did here. We got a whole bunch of those. And then we already done hollyhock. So we're just kind of making our way through the stuff here. And then I've got my starburst sunflowers. Cool, make sure I got that right. So we got, pull this over, these are starburst. And like I was telling them, all these are just gonna end up in my garage frozen over the winter. So which is what we love. So 10, 17, 25. Starburst, sunflowers. All right, kind of messed up the writing on there, but luckily it's just me. That's it, so. Oh, hollyhocks, yeah. Hollyhock, it's, well, I mean, if you can reach through the camera, here you go. I got tons of hollyhock for you. I got more I got to do. We're just did a few to kind of show folks what they look like when they're going. Oh, was my lettuce up the last time that you were on here, Shawnee? Look at how big they've gotten. Just in the last week, they popped up. They're doubled in size. These guys are doing good. They're taking off. So that's good. All right. So next we have. So this is an example of one that we are gonna. Yeah, doing good. So next on this, these are the gray stripe mammoth. Look at the size of this thing. This is a little guy. Look at this thing here. This is a gray stripe mammoth sunflower seeds. Just like the last one, but you can see this how big this is. All seeds on here. And you'll see these guys here. These are going to end up having to be dried out. So these are going to end up at some point in the dehydrator. I'm going to put them in the bag for now just to kind of keep them separated. Again, I'm going to be referencing that Offspring song quite a bit. Got to keep them separated. But these are gray stripe mammoth sunflower seeds, all right? Now what's great about these things, yeah, huge producer. So if you want on these, they're edible, so you can roast them and eat them. You can, then you can actually, if you have, you can pull the oil from these. Is one of the things that they have there. The entire plant's edible. Like this entire, at different times, like this, you can roast this section of it when, not now because it's really dried out, but when it's green and stuff, you can actually roast these and eat them. And people used to, right? These plants, sunflowers are, there you go. You got it. They even got the music in there. I love it. But for folks, this was, you know, sustenance for so many folks here because these in particular produce at such volume. These mammoth sunflowers, they're ridiculous how much they grow. And like I said, this right here is less. This is more than one packet of seeds that you'll get when you order them. Okay, so you can get a whole field going basically off of one pack. It's ridiculous how much they produce. But anyways, people used to grow these specifically to eat off them. But the other thing is that, and you'll see it in my around my property, I use sunflower stalks for like in place of bamboo, right? And that's what they actually used a lot of this. Sorry, I'm just looking. Okay, it's not raining or anything. You can use it for support structures in your actual garden, right? And that's one of the things that I do with it as well. I just love it. Can't beat it. Real quick note, if you guys go to stateandmaine.coffee, you can see my coffee shop on there. Tomorrow is our 1-year anniversary. We're super excited. I actually did a stream earlier today where we were just bagging coffee and just kind of talking to people. So it was a lot of fun. It's just another one of my businesses that I have with my business partner, Lisa. And so just FYI for folks here. All right, so we're just going to go through here and just start getting abusive with this. I want to get a bunch of these out of here. The other thing too is that, you know, I only really harvest maybe 2 to 3 sunflowers worth, and not even like usually a whole one of these, just to make sure I have them. This is all for my birds. The birds that just love these things. Yep, absolutely. Trellis for your beans and your cucumbers, 100%. Actually, my peas for the longest time, that's what I actually used. Now I just have them growing on one spot. So, man, Shawnee uses the big words all the time, and I love it. So everyone in the chat, everyone take a second, look in the chat, and just see what she wrote there. That's the other thing with sunflowers; they're just great. I love them across the board. You can see it, and you can see even within the plant itself. This is what's behind it. It's got this fluff. Guess what? This is really good for, right? You can one, it tastes good when you cook it up right, but it's also the birds will use it for insulation and all that stuff. Okay, so let's get this next one. These guys going here, but I mean, look at this. Ugh. This is like from half of one of those mammoth sunflowers right here, and you can get a ton of oil out of here that you can use for cooking and other stuff. Now, here's the thing, folks. And these still have a lot of moisture on them. All right, I'm putting them in here. They're going to go into my dehydrator. Right, they're going to go in my dehydrator later. At the end of the stream, once we're kind of done, I'm going to set this all up and let this guy go for 18 hours, really just to make sure everything is at the lowest setting that they're able to dry off in a safe way. So that's what we're going to be doing. So, Shawnee, by the way, I've gotten all fancy. I don't know if you noticed, but everything is right side, like nothing's backwards. All right. I figured out. I finally just broke down and brought my computer out here for this stuff. So yeah, we're getting fancy up in here. This is serious and professional around here. All right, so we're gonna save a bunch of these. I don't, there's no way I'm planting all this, but these will be tossed out into my garden later, for sure. Yeah, I know, right? Again, epic gardening, they ain't got nothing on me. So, hey, can you drop your channel, like the link to your channel in the chat there, and like your name of your channel? I tried to find you the other day, and I wasn't able to get you. Yeah. All right, so this is... Oh, you can't drop links. Can you put the name in there then, at least, for it? I know I got Shawnee Grows. Is that... I've tried to find you, and you didn't come up, so I'm going to have to figure that out. That's right, you're not a mod. See, look at you. You're like all serious. I don't know a thing about mods. So, all right, where are we at here? We'll just put Mammoth. 10. All right, so 10, 17, 25. So here, see, mammoth. I know there's only one mammoth thing I do. Sunflower, and then here's the date. So at Shawnee Grows. Cool, thank you for that. I'm gonna remember that. I'm gonna check it out. I wanna make sure I can sub and everything, so see what you're all about. In here dropping all that knowledge on us and stuff. I wanna make sure I return the favor. Okay, so we're gonna look at marigolds in a second, but I wanna come up this next guy here. So we have corn. This is the sweet corn that I grew. I can't remember the name of it, but it's specifically meant to be longer and have these really straight rows like that. So it's done what it's done here. I'm not gonna separate this out. I don't like to break corn off until I need to break corn off. So we're gonna dry this thing out completely by hanging it. It's actually gonna live. It's gonna live all the way back here. Like this is gonna be its spot. Right back here. I had it up earlier. I just wanted to have it there. So we're gonna let this guy basically just dry here all winter into the time, okay? So like that's the idea. Right, and the big part of this too is that on the corn, you don't want to damage it per se, and it doesn't hurt anything. Plus, you know, I mean, I think corn's cheap, but it's a good way to keep it there. So always want to make sure. Yep, and so with that, we talked about marigolds the other day. Ladies and gentlemen, actually, this would be good for you guys here. So earlier we were looking at zinnias. I pulled some of mine because I got like a metric ton of them. So you can see the flower into itself there, and you can see the different phases where now it's starting to dry out, and you get to this spot, right? And you get your seeds there. And here, you can see the birds have already been munching on it, right? And that's what I was saying. This is why I always try to leave my flowers up and out as many as I can, because the birds have been in here chomping on seeds, right? So that's why we keep them here. So this is the life cycle, right? We get to flower, gets to this, gets to that. Next spot is there. And then they end up in a bird's belly. Okay? Like that's the idea. That's what we want. All right. All right. Just toss you down there for now. Because actually we're gonna put you in the bucket. I'm not gonna save any more of you. You're gonna get composted, buddy. Echinacea. Let's do marigolds next. I'm gonna do some I pulled some of my marigolds. Same thing where you can see we got our marigolds here. This is, as Shawnee knows, this is what I refer to as the gateway drug. The gateway drug, or the gateway flower for saving seeds. Because marigolds are awesome. They're everywhere. And then we're actually gonna look at some echinacea here as well in a second. So we got the actual flowers, right? The marigolds, these stinky things, but man, they're great for the pollinators and everyone. But this is really how you harvest the seeds out of here. So once they get to this certain point, and you can see how it's browned out and it's kind of dried a little bit. You can get them on other ones. All we're gonna do is go here and pinch and pull. That's it, folks. And now you have all of these seeds, which this is more than you're gonna get in one packet from the seed companies. Okay, so just put that there. I've got that on the list. I've got it on the list for me to order to have that. So thank you for that. So we're gonna do a couple more. You can just see it's that simple. Now, one of the things that they talk about here that has been a topic of discussion has been, okay, so we got our seeds here, right? And they're like these little needle looking things, like legit, like these little needles. And the question is that I get from folks is, when you plant these, are you supposed to plant them this way or can you lay them down? Well, I did testing this year. I did testing to see which way was going to be the best way to do that, right? Whether it was going to be, I'm going to talk and do this at the same time. So this one's emptied out. I'm going to grab a few here. I'm going to do a whole bunch this year because like I said, I usually grow between 180 and 270 marigolds for around in my garden for my mom. So I usually end up with a whole ton. So I did testing on this, right? And I was like, man, I want to find out because, man, people are telling me like, ooh, no, you have to do it this way because this is the way they're designed, right? Because they're like little needles and they fall and they push in the ground. There was exactly zero difference. Didn't matter. These things just grew. The germination rates were exactly the same. So don't sweat it. That's the other thing too, folks. You should never really be stressed out when it comes to your garden, the way you're growing stuff. End of the day, we're out here to have a good time and enjoy being in nature. Sometimes the seeds just don't want to grow. That's okay. We're not going to worry about it. Getting upset about it isn't going to make them grow. Isn't going to make them grow any better, right? So, yeah, we don't stress about that. I'm going to grab one more here. This one, another set there. And this is where I was telling you, folks, do your part. And if you're interested in even getting started with some of the, go to the home center, especially now they've got a bunch of dead flowers around. Not saying there's going to be a problem walking by and doing this, but no one in the home center is going to say anything to you. I can promise you that. They'll laugh because they all do it too. Okay. But again, this is just one of my 100 marigold plants I got around here. And this is just a portion of one, but we're just going to grab a bunch here and kind of load them up. And the thing is that I don't replant from one plant. I got this. I'm going to go get 5 or 6 other plants and mix all the seeds up to make sure that I'm not just keeping one of the one lineage going. I want to kind of mix them up. Okay. So we're going to get a few, but I want to get a bunch. Because the one thing that does happen here is that the germination rate with these isn't, obviously isn't 100%. So the more that you can pop in there and just thin them out later, the better. But you can see we are pocket some seeds. Exactly. But you can see as we're going through this, you're able to fill up multiple packs worth of, marigolds just off of one plant. I mean, this is not even one plant. This is just 2 stems of that. And that's what look at this, folks. We are marigold. This is $50-$60 worth of marigold seeds. So yeah, once you get started, I haven't paid for marigolds in years. I don't plan on ever paying for marigolds again. But once you get them, everyone thinks, oh man, we just got started and that's it. No. Get those seeds. You can save them by all means. Yeah, no, I know. I saw that. That's you guys were bringing that up last week on the chat. It was crazy. So here's the thing. I have again, if you haven't subscribed, please do hit the like button. Algorithm loves it. All the things, right? I only think I have around 1,500 subscribers. I don't have that many, and I had like 12,000 people on the live stream on Sunday watching me put compost down. It was wild. I'm still trying to work through that. My brain still doesn't know what to do with that information, because I shouldn't have that many, but here we are. So I love everybody who's here. Thank you so much. And yeah, I know. Marigolds, yay. So again, just as a reminder, we're always going to put what we have in the bag and the date we put it in, because we forget about seeds. We forget about them. Okay, so then we're going to go to some echinacea. Echinacea is next on the list, folks. So it's a coneflower, right? Y'all familiar with that? Coneflowers. I leave these out for the birds, always. However, I do want to grow some additional coneflowers here. Yeah, I had the right time slot for sure. That's no joke. So there's a method to this to get these out, and I'm going to show you. We're going to come up nice and close, and we're going to do some really good live stream with this. Okay, you guys ready? So here's our coneflower. That is my sophisticated way to get those seeds out without, I'm going to pull a bunch out here, but this is if you don't want to cut yourself up. That's like the way that I typically get stuff started. But you see all these seeds? There's tons of them there from the birds, but this is really what you want to do. Just do that. And they'll come right. And this is the thing, the birds love these things. All winter long, they would just tear these up. So I always try to leave them out there for them. I have so many, I have a ton of flowers. We took the little tour on the property the other day, and I have probably 50 or so different sets of coneflowers. Ow, ow, man. Ouch, 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 ouch. It's sharp, guys. Oh my goodness. Okay, so anyways, there we go. So there's that. We're gonna just chop that here. And inside of here, once we get past all the pokies, the smaller pieces there, those are your actual seeds. These little guys are really fine. Let's see how close I can get you here. These are the seeds right here. These little nubs right there. Yep. and they'll just pop right out here. But again, I just want to show you how easy it was to pop the pokey parts out. So there's that. And I'm going to start some some echinacea this year so I can have it. I'm not going to separate these out. I'll worry about it when it's time to do it, okay? Now the thing is, these are all dry. I made sure that these were all dried out, but I always try to put stuff in the paper bag first. Again, it's just my process. You have your ways. If you find it better for you, do you. But I seem to have better luck when I put them in a paper bag for a little while first to help wick some of the moisture out, and then deal with it. Because you can't put these in the dehydrator. Because they're really tiny, and the wind gets to them. So I just put them in here, and we'll let it wick out this way, and it seems to work pretty well. So there's that one. We're gonna do another one here. Let's do a couple more. Make sure we get some seeds here. Yeah, we'll do some more tapping here. Let you guys kind of watch along. If this right here, folks, is why you guys come to YouTube, and looking for streaming for this type of quality content. And you'll see where they're popping out there. We're going to help the cause some. There you go. There they go. Now I'm going to get a bunch of these started, and I'm going to offer them up to my neighbors, like in the donation pile. Like, that's kind of the deal here, folks, is that all of this is really just for my neighbors. I have my perennials, they're going, so no real issues there. And echinacea is so pretty. They're so pretty. The different colors that come out of there, and they're hardy. They're nearly impossible to kill. Nearly impossible to kill. Can you kill them? Yes, you can. But nearly. All right, so we got a few out there, and you just see, and this is why the birds love them, because they want to hold on to their seeds. And once they get in there and start chomping, look at them. They're just pouring out of there. And it gives the little guys something to do. But yeah, one of the reasons that I also give these things out to my, so many starter plants to my neighbors is it's just a great way to get beauty out in the world too, right? Beauty, we talked about before. We're going to look at some of our squash here and our zucchini in a second. But, I give out a lot of calories, but we also want to make sure we're getting beauty out in the world. It's super important. And if we can get some fresh flowers out there, one, flowers are beautiful. But two, what's really nice about that is it gives us an opportunity to, it also helps out with our pollinators, right? Oh, guys not trying to look at this. You guys want to look at this guy over here. Sorry about that. All right, cool. All right. Yeah, echinacea and all your cone flowers are fantastic. I just love them. And my entire garden is ringed by marigolds, coneflowers, echinacea, and black-eyed Susans. Tons of black-eyed Susans. Like, more is just a yellow and black just fest down the corner, basically both sides of my garden. It's pretty cool. So, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so wait, hold on. You wrote out echinacea. See, I was gonna say I don't know how to spell echinacea. It's one of those things, but you wrote it for me, so we're good. Echinacea. There we go. Echinacea 10, 17, 25. Yeah. Echinacea 10, 17, 25. Man, we have been making some serious headway here, folks. Okay, so those the cone flowers are done. Now for some of the yuck. I don't want to get this on here. We're going to get something else, and I don't know what I'm going to use. I didn't think this part through. I was going to just kind of figure it out as we went. So we're at that point now. So I don't want to get any stuff on that. I may use one of these. I'll get you out here. So we saved one of my summer squash. All right, guy's a monster. We're going to cut open one of our zucchinis, and I got cucumbers here, as well as a couple of my tomatoes, and just going to kind of show you through, basic on the process here. Oh, you're going to the property? That's awesome. Awesome. Yep. Oh yeah, fully mature. This is that's the only way you can do it, right? Anything other than that, it just doesn't quite work right. Yeah, I think a lot of folks too. And so, just for everybody out there, one of the things I think a lot of people misunderstand about the food items that we're dealing with. Let me get this. Let me get this out of the way here. Just kind of in the way. Okay, there we go. I think a lot of things that a lot of folks misunderstand when they're looking at the food items that we eat. We eat a lot of what would be the immature varieties. Not all everything, but we eat immature varieties of a lot of the foods that we have. So, for instance, one of the things that the squash that we have, they're still baby when we get them. Zucchinis, they get to a certain size, right? And they're too big, they harden up too much. Lettuce is another example of that. So lettuces, so there's lettuce, right? Little baby version. It's eventually going to get to be something about yay big or so, right? Especially if this is black-seeded Simpson, it's going to be about this big. Okay. It's a type of a what's the word I'm going to say here? It's like a romaine type lettuce ish, give or take. It's going to be about this big. That's the immature variety. Once it gets to a certain level of heat and light changes and everything, it does something called bolting, right? Which off of heat, where it will grow super tall where it gets into the mature variety. We eat it before it bolts, right? So we want to get to that. So that's the thing. Yep. So that's the idea there, folks. So we're getting into that. So let's start with this. So this is going to be a little gross here, folks. It's going to be a little slimy, and that's just is what it is. Let me move this out of here so I can clean this later. We're up here. So this, I only get seeds from stuff that's yellow. Like when it comes to, it has to start yellowing when it comes to like cucumbers. I want this to be yellow, and because that means it's like done. And these seeds that are going to be in here, we're just going to take a look at them. I'm going to pull some out. Right? Ooh, gross, 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 gross. So gross, folks. Slimy and just ew. But when they're yellow, that lets me know that they have gotten to the point where they are donezo. All right, and here, pull some of this stuff out. That's what that looks like. Now you see in here, all those seeds, what we're going to end up doing here, you can wash them out and there's other things you can do. Frankly, for me, I'm just placing these right now. That's why I use these. They're cheap. We're just going to take that and put it on here, and I'm going to lay them out over here and let them dry because it's still dry in here. We still have a lot of stuff going on. So these are actually going to be laid out vertically. But we end up with all of these seeds, right? From one cucumber, like one. Oh, hey, Alicia, what's going on? Welcome, welcome. Where you at, Alicia? We're in northern Michigan here. We got folks all over. We got Minnesota. Yep. Absolutely. Yep. All those exactly what you said there, Sean. Look in the comments for how basically to get these things here. Now for me, it smells good too. That's the other thing. Once these get to a certain point, they smell like a mild version of like when you're carving pumpkins, right? Because they're still in the same, not in the same family, but they're in the same ballpark. They got that really nice smell to them. So anyways, here's the seeds that come out of it, right? Very small, very delicate. But we have from one plant, I have my entire next year's seeds for all my cucumbers, just from this one. Now this variety was smaller. It's more gherkinish where they're at. These are the ones that I canned, that I had. Not all your seeds are going to be for canning per se, right? So we're going to put these out here, and again, I'm just going to let these guys kind of just thin out and dry out this way, and we'll be good with that here. They can hang out here. They ain't going to hurt nobody. All right, so that's them. There's that one. And then I have another variety just to kind of show you the difference here. This is the second variety that I have of cucumbers. So I had two of them basically just growing side by side. And it's real simple to get into them. Actually, I'll use my knife. Right. We're just going to pop in here and open those up and see what we get. This is so good to see. So this guy, this is great to see. And this is one of the reasons why I've got other ones saved. On lives, you can't plan it better. Look at all the lack of seeds that I got going on here, folks, right? This did not get pollinated very well. I only have a couple seeds from this whole big old boy here. Okay? So I've got other ones I'm gonna get. So this was actually a great example to show you, like, hey, not all of them are gonna do that stuff. So cool, no worries. The other thing, we aren't gonna sweat about that because again, cucumbers are cheap. Always get more. But I got a ton of seeds for that one. I've got some other ones to get after. So hopefully everybody's enjoying this so far. It's good to have you guys on here, man. We are just having a blast today. Again, make sure that you're hitting that thumbs up. Make sure you're hitting share if that's something you like. You know, and if you haven't subscribed, please do. That'd be great. All right, so this one next, I pulled these down. Look at these gross looking tomatoes. These are my favorite type of tomatoes to get after because they are fully developed, and we are going to have some seeds in here somewhere. Not this guy. That guy's not playing along well. There we go. I don't think I want those ones. I may have to go grab a different one. Oh, here we go. So this is why I kind of go after these here when they're older like this. The seeds of ferment, they have gone through a little bit and they just sit at the bottom there. They're all in one little spot. I don't know if you guys can tell that or not. They're right there. So we're going to save a bunch of these, and that's the idea. They're just going to go basically on the paper towel. And I'm going to go grab some fresh ones, and we're going to compare notes, kind of side by side them. And you want to do the same thing on these. You can rinse all these out, which is really kind of the best known practice. And you want to give them time to sit and do their thing. And basically, whichever ones rise up are the ones you're not going to want to have. But I want to be able to show you where I come through and actually pull these ones that have had a chance to ferment and go through this growth cycle, because I actually have a better germination rate. Yep, on the plant, I get a much better germination rate with these if we let them ferment in the actual fruit itself. So I always try to just let them do this. The birds tend to leave them alone. But let's go. I'm going to grab a fresh one real quick and kind of show you guys the difference. All right. So I mean, this has been such a wild year. Exactly. And that's part of the deal when Shawnee's like getting ahead of the game here on me, is that what you typically do, like with these, right? We're just gonna, let me just cut them open here. Right, we would go through the process of pulling. So by the way, one of the things, anytime you got a knife on a holster, you want to be able to get your knife out quickly, take your time putting your knife back, okay? It's really important. All right, so with this, you've got your normal seeds like on your tomato, right? I'm just gonna pull them out, and I'm just gonna put them in my hand here. And they're in this, sorry, so we got the fruit out of there. I got some here. We're just gonna get the rest of these guys. Here, get in here. Right, it's just this whole gross, you know, it is what it is, okay? So here these guys are. They're living their best life on the membrane here. The issue you run into here is that these are not ready to go. They still need to ferment. And the way that's typically done, and it's one of the ways that I do it all the time, is you're going to take these, put these in water, and let them hang out for a few days, right? And just let them go until you start seeing the water cloud up, right? Where you've got fermentations happening. These seeds need to go through that process to really be viable. So that's why I let mine ferment in the fruit. And you can just see the difference. Like this looks like, right, sun-dried tomato paste going on here. So this has been going on, and they got funky in the actual plant. These guys, once I rinse them off and then dry, they'll be ready to go. They need about 3 to 5 days of going through the fermentation stuff in water to clear them off the membrane, do the stuff before they're ready. They still need to go through a cooling off period too. So good stuff. So yeah, that's what we're looking at, and you can just see the difference here. Okay, this is fresh. So if you find, and this is what I tell folks, if you find tomatoes in your that you really like at the grocery store, harvest the seeds, save them. You can grow them on your patio, you can grow them wherever. So it's one of those things here. Okay. We're doing pretty good here, guys. We're cooking. Now we get into some of the really fun stuff. I don't know. Summer squash. Now I'm going to give you guys the audio on this. Yeah, nice and solid. This is a gourd now. It is pretty. It's got a lot to it. So we want to be able to get into this guy to be able to get after some of these seeds here. And this is not the normal table I do this on, so we want to make sure that we're being safe as we can. The goal here is simply just to split this guy. Not trying to cut it apart. We're going to treat it just like any other gourd. Take our time. So with this, when you were working here in the garden and you're working with a knife, there's a couple rules to have here. Hey, pretty, what's up?
Hello.
Hey, got the redhead. She's stopping by to say hi. Couple things when you're dealing with a knife. You start with 10 fingers. The goal is to end with 10 fingers. Okay, she's laughing at me out there. But that's where we're at. So we're just going to take our time here and crack this open. Typically for this, when you guys are involved, I throw these things on the ground and just break them up. But, you know, we want to have some content here. Danger for you guys possibly to see me cut myself, right? I know you guys don't want to see that. We don't want that for me either. There's that guy. Okay, now we're just going to do this. Once we get in here, we can start tearing it apart a little bit and get after these seeds. So, Shawnee, what is your, yeah, exactly, just like carving a pumpkin, because it is one. What's your success rate with these harvesting seeds out of your summer squash? I don't have the best luck with these. I do it every year, and my germination rate's terrible. So I have to do a bunch. So pumpkins, I have no problem, but man, these summer squash are a pain. Here, we're gonna do one more thing over here. All right, that should be enough for me to get started. There we go. All right, we got cracking, folks. There we go. There we go. Got her open. There we go. Now, again, we're going to go back to, just like we were saying before, folks, when you're looking at these, think how many seeds you typically get in a package of, you know, in a pack you're buying from the, you know, from the local box store. And I can tell you definitively, when you let these guys go, the summer squash, and you let it go to full maturity, you've got, without a doubt, close to 100 packs of basically of seeds out of one of these. Okay? And so I'm going to save these because these are going to go to the chickens. Give this here. So we're going to pop these over here. And we're just going to pull a few of these out here because I don't need all these. The chickens will tear these up. But we're going to save this. I mean, look at this, guys. Look at this. Tons of them. Now, these are going to run through the dehydrator. Just FYI. These are absolutely going to get dehydrated. I'm putting them in a bag just like I did with the others. But we're absolutely going to dry these out on the dehydrator. That's going to happen. All right, so that's enough of that. We'll let the chickens have this guy. So you can see, these are our seeds that we got. Looking pretty good, looking pretty healthy. 3 out of 10 sprout, yeah. Okay, that right there, that's exactly how many plants, you know, zucchini plants does one person really need? Now, when it's me, because I'm feeding basically a big chunk of my my neighborhood around here, you know, I need a few, because the moment I put a summer squash out or zucchini out, it's gone. Like, I can't even, it's crazy how quickly those people come, those people, good Lord, what I mean, it's crazy how quickly my neighbors, they have like a little alarm. And I only have one camera out there, and they must have broken into my feed, because the moment that I put anything out there, it's gone. Yeah, it is 100%. Yeah, exactly. The seed market. Okay, I'll say this. I wouldn't say it's ripping you off, because there's labor involved with that. However, there's no reason not to save your seeds, folks. Especially, you know, the stuff you're getting from the, you know, if you're buying stuff from the the box stores and everything, you're buying your vegetables. Just save the seeds. You'll be happier in that. So we're gonna put this and just kind of bag this up for now. This is going in my dehydrator. I'll have a short on that later. So again, if you haven't subscribed, be sure to. You'll see it on there. Oh, I got honey Honey's back over here doing her thing. So we got summer squash. Come on, Ryan, use your words. Or use your letters, actually, man. Cool. Lots of labor. Oh, wait. You're one of them Canadians, aren't you? You got that U in there. You got the King's English going on, or the Queen's English. So summer squash got over there. All right, so there's that. Put that up there. There. So last one's gonna be our zucchini. How many of y'all ever seen like an actual fully, yeah, squash of the summer? Dun. How many of y'all ever seen this one here? So this, again, zucchini is just one of those plants too. If once you get it growing, man, they just start producing. But you know, there was a few friends of mine this year when they were doing their squash, what they were running in their zucchini, they were not getting any sort of. We're gonna go all the way around. This is cut nice and easy, so I'm just gonna go right around. They were not getting any sort of yield this year. I was doing pretty well. I was like one of the few. My neighbor next door did pretty well, but there's a lot of folks. They were just not. Okay. Oh, hey. So, okay. I was just wondering the laborers. Thought you might be one of them Canadians over there. So, which is fine. We love our Canadian friends. All right. You guys ready for the action shot here? So, we got our zucchini. Here we go. All right. It looks like a whale coming in. There we go. Look at all that. Look at all that goodness in there. Good stuff. So, we're just going to rip all them out. And just see what we're dealing with. Lots of goodness in here. All right, we're just gonna pull those out. And again, like I said, we eat the immature, I say the young version. Excuse me. Excuse me. Actually, I gotta grab some water real quick. Water break. Remember, folks, gotta stay hydrated. You know, we're not. I think it's some mix of that. Basically, the bad pollination and some other stuff. That everyone was just struggling this year. It was pretty bad. All right, let's go here. We got some more in here. You know, but I did really well. I was producing at a pretty good rate, and then I just picked my couple summer squash and zucchini that I was just gonna let go. My mom came over like 3 or 4 times. She's like, "Can I get that zucchini?" I'm like, "Nope. That's gonna be for my seeds." I even like had to tell her, I'm like, "You can't touch this one." She wanted to though. She didn't want to play fair. All right, so this one here, when you think, so right now, the thing to keep in mind here when I split this, there's still more seeds that are behind this membrane. So we're just going to keep working through there, and you're just going to see more and more seeds are going to keep popping up. So just come through here and just grab as many seeds as you can. Understand that of these, especially when it comes to like this type of squash, your viability on some of these isn't the best per se, but get as many as you can, and then when you do your starts, whoever makes it, whoever doesn't, it's okay. But when we get into the late spring here, yeah, 100%. So 100%, yeah. Hey, I've got to flag them. Don't touch this. This is not for you. Easy for seeds. Yep, exactly. Got to have something out there, especially when you're out at the property too, because if you're not there to keep an eye on folks, right, they're going to be going crazy. So I got you. All right, so I got more than enough here, but I just want to kind of get the last little bit just to show you. And this isn't like a like a clean harvest of these either as well. So again, more goodies for my chickens. They're going to tear them up. I got some membranes on here. We'll clean this up later. And again, it's going to be very similar to like you do with your the cleanup on this really is just putting them in water and just kind of work it that way and then dry them out, which is what I'll do. But like I said, we're going to put these all into a paper bag. But just to show you, this is why we label stuff. You tell me, pumpkin, squash, zucchini, which one is that, right? We always want to label stuff. Doing well here, folks. Yeah, so we're going to get this guy in here. And then we're going to go for a little tour for those that haven't been around the garden here, kind of show you what I finished up here, because I do a couple versions every year, kind of change up what's happening in my my garden. Actually, we'll do this after I do this. So I've gotten my my cover down on my garden. So we're gonna go take a look at that and kind of show you guys what I did, because it's a little bit different. I got Abraham, what's happening? Welcome, good to see you on here. Where are you from? We got folks all over in the chat here right now, so it's good to have you on here. Welcome. All right, so we're gonna again just do what I can to save what I can. Not gonna worry about those. Like I said, we got, just looking at that, that's like 10 packs of zucchini seeds without even, without really even trying much or anything at all. So, all right, so we're gonna put these in here. Like I said, I got some work to do on these, but again, end of the day, we got this here. Heck yeah, seed saving right now, garden tour. We all love that. Love that for us. My neighbor, and also show you my compost as well too, because I've started my next, kind of show you where that, what's going to be happening, because I got to mow tomorrow before we get a bunch of rain, so I need to do some stuff. So this is zucchini. I know I'm going to spell it wrong. There we go. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. We're not gonna have a spelling test about this. It's fine. Don't be mean. Don't be mean to you, Ryan. Okay. All right. So there's my zucchini. We got this over here. We got a whole bunch of stuff. So just to kind of go through everything, we did hollyhock, zinnias, a whole bunch of wildflowers. We did a bunch of marigolds, echinacea, mammoth sunflower seeds. We did our sunburst sunflower seeds. Then we did our summer squash and our zucchini, along with echinacea, coneflowers. We did a lot, guys. It was a thing. All right, so we're gonna flip this around. Good to see everybody. Hey, there's me. All right, so I'm backwards now because we're gonna go on the tour. So I'm going to adjust this. What's cool about my stand here, let me guys show this here. I got this stand. So it is actually, it's not just like a regular stand, it's also a selfie stick too. So I can, like this, and do this stuff. Okay, so let's do this piece here. All right, so again, you can see this is where I got my tomatoes from, that I was pulling from, and you can see I've got these guys down here, groups of them. I'm gonna grab some more that are fermented in the actual fruit. We wanna get those, and then I just pulled my fresh ones as well. So I still have some that I can pull out of here and still munch on for at least another couple days or so, which I will be doing. As you can see, we got our marigolds. I just popped these in here. These are just some random ones. And again, look at that, more seeds. More marigold seeds, no matter where you go. And I'm gonna leave this up, let the birds eat these too. This is where I had all of my cucumbers growing this year, and you can see like some of them did well. And then I got this guy here. I just left him up here more for fun than anything. Poor guy or gal. Didn't really get a chance to live their best life. Oh well. So these are all of the black-eyed Susans that we were talking about. You can just see that the whole thing is just full of them. So again, this is where I was talking about my hollyhocks. They're like right here. Again, earlier we were looking at the seeds for them, but it's as simple as that. You just pull off those pods and they are full of seeds. And we'll just sprinkle them down. Okay, so let's start over here. I think this is probably best for you guys. You have a good idea. So we have, this is my little garden stand where I do some veggies at. This is where my strawberries are at. They're pretty much going dormant right now. They're done. I think I still got like a couple guys that were trying, but these are everbearing sunflower or strawberries. So year round, they just gave me all sorts of goodies. All right, so with my neighbor over there, that tree, these are those leaves from that tree over here. Now this is where I'm gonna be putting in my, basically where I put my grass. These two are gonna get filled up to the brim all the way. Actually, here, let me do this. It's probably better if I do it this way, guys. Probably better if I do it this way. So we got these two, because it's just, just to be able to show here. So these have maybe another 2 years left, just because I'm going to be building out something a little bit more permanent. So what I do is I get started with my leaves here, right? Get a ton of them in here. What we're going to do is, as I get my, rather than doing like the lasagna layers, right? When I'm out here mowing between my green matter and my brown matter, I start with here, and I'm just going to start as I'm mowing, bringing in bags and bags of grass and just mixing this up and hitting it with the hose. Mix, 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 mix. And I'm not going to touch it again until spring. I'm just going to give it one time in here, cover it up, and just be done with it. And it'll do its thing all spring. And then when it gets to be around March time frame, when we have our first warm up, I'll come out here, pull all of this out, warm it up, hit it with the hose, put it back, and then it'll cook for the rest of the spring. So that way, when when I get to around May time frame, it'll be done, be fully awesome compost that I can put in my garden. I can give to my mom, give to my neighbors and stuff. So they'll have that. Okay, and it'll be the same thing on this one here. This is a spare. This is starter in case I need any help. And this area here, see where all those leaves are at? That whole section will be this big monstrosity because all of those leaves there are going to end up right here. Okay, so that's kind of the plan. I don't know if you guys can, hopefully that made sense to y'all. But the biggest thing when you're doing, keep in mind whenever you're doing a garden, folks, is make sure you should always be planning, like, and have a plan and be thinking about, okay, what's my steps from, what am I going to need 4 months from now? Because what you're doing now is more than likely is going to be help you when you get to that time frame. Okay. All right. So this is my butterfly bush. Got this from my mom. We transplanted this. I'm amazed it actually took. So here are all of my sunflowers. You can see these are those sunburst ones we did earlier, right? Still full of seeds. You can see where they still got some of the flowers left on them here. Underneath them are the seeds where the birds are going after. But I make a little lean-to, and I'm going to kind of cover this a little bit better for my chickens to hang out in because they're in my garden right now. So we'll get a better look at this in a second. You can see down the line here, again, more of the black-eyed Susans and marigolds and our echinacea. Got some of them, and then the last leg with a little bit of color here. So butterfly bush here has actually our butterfly bushes. They do really well going dormant, and then they come right back. It's pretty wild how cool they are. All right, so anyways, we'll go in the garden here. Go look at the chickens in a second, but I want to kind of show you guys this. So these are all sunflower stalks that are here. You can see them. They're basically like bamboo when I let them dry out. So the chickens, that way with all the leaves, right, I put here, this is another cover that I could have to protect the soil, because your number one thing in your garden is you need to either have something planted, you need to have something planted and or keep the ground covered at all times, okay? And so I use the combination of compost and leaves here, just to kind of mix it up and have it, and I'll have different layers of stuff here. So in here, I was saying for the chickens, they can come in here during the wintertime. That's the idea. They can come in and just have another place to hide because, again, there's a lot of hawks and eagles and everything out here. So got the leaves here. We're going to look at the chicken thing here in a second. And then this was my tomato trellis. We had a stream that was going on here where basically we took this apart. I just making them another lean-to on this side so they can have that as well. All right, so for the chickens, here is their run that I built for them. Right, got their little run, and then we got their coop in the back. Let's see if you guys think we got any eggs. What do you think? Let's flip this around. Uh-oh, who do we got coming up here? Hey, you. What's up? That's Honey, everybody. Say hi to Honey Mustard. Hey, girl. What you doing? Yeah? She always comes around. Always comes around during the streams. All right, so let's see if we got any eggs. I'm not going to hold out any hope here, but let's see. Oh, all right. We got 3 eggs. Look at us. Go us. Go us. Okay. So anyways, so this is the coop that we have for the chickens. You know, we talk about, oh yeah, don't forget to do that if you haven't done that. All right, so we got the coop there, and what I do is I actually let them around in the entire garden here once everything's done, because they're coming in here, and you can just see this is my compost, but you can see they're scratching everything up and they're getting in here. They're doing chicken stuff. That's what we want to have. I just have these growing still because I don't have any desire to take them down, and the chickens are just munching on them. But this is artichokes. These are artichokes that are there. I doubt we're going to have anything. They're going to actually get to flower or anything. And then I got my celery here. Like I say, just growing some celery, so I have some snacks around here. But you can see the garden itself. We'll go a quick little pan here for you. Yes, I know, Honey. I see you. She always keeps an eye on me here. So this garden, like we talked about, is 25 by 50. And I pulled close to, with this and my raised gardens, I pulled close to 30 bushels of tomatoes and cucumbers beans, and onions, right? These are just around. So one of the things to keep in mind is that when you have your space, use your space smartly is what I like to say. Grow stuff you want to grow, have fun with it, but also just think about what the costs are for your, for vegetables and stuff, different things you can get. I try to grow things that I use all the time, but are not, I don't want to say this here, they are expensive, right? So you want to try to, so for instance, like I only grow celery just so I can have it for a snack. I wouldn't, if I didn't have space for it, I would not make it happen. Celery's cheap. So a lot of the different things you're looking at, you want to have, like for instance, so I grow my basil here, right? I grow basil, intentionally grow basil because basil is expensive to get it, to get it fresh, right? And it doesn't last. It's already dead when it's in the store. So I like to grow it fresh, have it here. Same thing with rosemary. When you look at those space. The other thing too is understanding like the spacing that you need. And we get into all this during the spring when we're actually putting together the design for our garden. We look at the overall space that everything needs. So for instance, like pumpkins, if you want to grow pumpkins, they need a lot of space. But I don't intentionally grow pumpkins because I just throw seeds wherever and just let them do the thing. So we want to make sure we're maximizing space the best we can, and also understanding who's going to do what and how they're going to separate stuff up. Like for instance, where you have your tomatoes at, that needs to be really thought out because they need a lot of sun, but also you can't have them planted in a spot where they're going to get, because they will throw off a lot of shade and they block stuff, right? Because the indeterminate varieties, the ones that grow up, they're going to throw shade, literally and figuratively, at anyone trying to grow around them. So you got to plan that out, okay? Same thing is that but don't overthink it. That's the other one. You just get out there and give it a try and see what works. That's probably the biggest thing I would tell folks here is that, here, a lot of this, I've just been trying to figure out what works well in my garden and make adjustments for it and do everything I can to keep the soil healthy. And that's, if you focus on that, everything else kind of comes together itself, okay? So with that, I think we're going to call it there, folks. It's been a good stream. Thank you, everybody who stopped by. It's been a lot of, actually, here, let's do this because I want to make sure the girls get some screen time here. I just want to say, thanks everybody who stopped by. Thank you so much for the likes. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Yes, we learn as we grow. I love that very much. That's awesome. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Make sure, and again, if you think anybody may enjoy this content or more of this type of stuff, make sure that you do, make sure you share it with them as well, okay? So with that, take care, everybody. I should be on the stream this weekend as well, too. I got a few things I got to do. So, yeah, hit that notification bell so you know when I go live. Take care, folks. We'll see you next time. Where are they at? Where'd they go? Oh, there they are. Say, girls. Bye. Laters.